Welcome back to the Frankenstein again. This is the second episode of the first impression series that I've started. As you can remember from the last time, on this episode, I'm going to cover the other ones that I've left off. So, if you want to hear my thoughts on them, stay tuned. Starting off with this bad boy, Rhyolite. Oops, is this right? Let's see what we get from here. Ooh, this is quite an interesting one. The juice color is apparently different from the ones that I've got in other samples. This and Blue Fire has a different juice color. Damn, this is interesting. I see this appropriate for a man who likes to take challenges, a distinguished individual, a person who has an acquired taste, someone with a blue collar job, someone who's a boss or an executive and has a distinctive taste. I see a person like that rocking this. And this veers on the masculine side of things. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm not sure if I'd be able to pull this off, but the notes that most comes to my mind is the honey and the almond in the beginning phase, and when it dries down, the musk comes into play, and this lasted on me for quite some time. This has similar vibes from Narciso Rodriguez. For some reason, it has that grey, ashy feel, almost replicating the note of tobacco. Some people draw inferences of cigarette smoke with this, and I can see where they're coming from. But to me, it feels more like a amped up version of Narciso Rodriguez with, again, with a gourmand touch. That's Rhyolite for you. And for me, it's on the try before you buy. Just because I am not particularly in that genre of people that I see this relevant to. Okay? And the next one in line is Happyland, Paisley Sky. This is an interesting one. The name is quite interesting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is the one I think I from my initial wearing there were 3 that piqued my interest. I think I've already covered 2. This is another one. This starts off by giving vibe of the Baccarat Rouge DNA, and if you've followed me, you know my love for Baccarat Rouge. It's an open secret that I'm a Baccarat fan. But this is not an outright clone. It gives you that vibe initially, but as it dries down, it develops into a scent of its own, a different beast, a different beauty. It's sweet and sparkling, has a personality, but it definitely has the signature EJ gourmand touch to the Baccarat DNA. It smells a little medicinal to me. In fact, all of us are in agreement that it is syrupy but not all the awful type. You know, in your childhood, there were medicines that you dreaded having, and on the flip side, you had medicines that you would absolutely look forward to having. This is the one that falls on the latter category. It's sweet and simply magical. It has that. I think the notes that I pick up is the floral that you get in Baccarat, maybe jasmine, and also that molecular feeling as well. Maybe something with a H, heliotrope or hedonic. I think one of those. notes. It reminds me of the baccarat but with its unique touch to it. And this also reminded us of a gift shop. When you enter a gift shop, the smell of a gift shop for some reason resonates with this. And this is a must buy for me. I'm getting this one. On to the next one. The next one is this one, 7. Oops, this is great. Now, this is an interesting one as well. I think this is EJ's interpretation of, or should I say, him diving in the floral side of things, adding his unique gourmand touch. I get a lot of white chocolate in the opening. It has a unique sweetness with a floral kick, and the flower that comes to my mind is of something that is seductive. Rose, maybe. And the sweetness is, the gourmand side is equally balanced with a floral touch. I see this quite relevant in sensual situations, although this fragrance, I can't recall, but I think I saw a fragrance that is good for those black tie affairs. But I would disagree on that point, and I would say that this is more of a sensual type fragrance. And although it has appealing stature under its belt, for some reason I think there's more better alternatives to this. Just for that sake, I'm gonna pass it, and I'm gonna place it on the try before you buy category. That's 7. Now I had another sample to go. Actually, I had 2 samples to run through, but unfortunately my Cravat Noir sample got lost in the package while I was moving out, and I can't seem to recall what it smelled like. So I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to skip that and move on to the next one. The next one I have for you is Blue Fire. Okay? Now, that hits you. That is sharp from the get-go. Oh, this is quite interesting. This is an interesting one as well. And you know what's really interesting about this house? Every fragrance is gonna pique your curiosity because everything is done in a different way. I haven't tried the latest editions, but everything will always almost skyrocket your expectation, and you'll be curious always with this house. Now, from the sound of the name, I am guessing this is EJ's shot at a blue fragrance. But the notes that stand out, and this is quite interesting, are leather. It's got a bit of sweetness, so I'm guessing amber, and it has got some smokiness as well. Incense. If this is his shot at a blue fragrance, this has a unique spin-off. I haven't seen shower gel type fragrance, or blue fragrance as they call in the fragcom, done with leather. I get the shower gel vibe with that leather creeping in and almost going hand in hand with that freshness. So a fresh leather. That is something I haven't seen done with other blue fragrances. Always they start off citrusy and they have a base of ambroxan. That's how it goes. But with this, it's a different story. Damn, another definite try before you buy category for sure. This also has the potential to grow on me. The name isn't something he pulled out of the air, because I think if blue fire was ever a thing or a mythical thing, if it had a fictional smell, this is what it would smell like. The fiery edges of leather and with that refined blue hues of shower gel. So if that's the type of profile you're looking for, get a sample of this and see if you dig it. Now the most important question is, where do I stand with this house? What's my verdict? Well, two things comes to my mind, and after giving this away, shouldn't be difficult to piece together where I stand with this house. Firstly, I scored these 11 samples at a price point of $50, which is an absolute peach of a deal, absolute bonkers value for money when you consider the current climate of niche and indie fragrances, the amount of money they charge you for samples. That is a winner for me. Secondly, out of everything that I've tried from the house, only 2 were disappointments, or 2 that I've let go on, but 3 were absolute buys, and others were try before you buy. But still, I'm gonna give you my objective assessment of the house anyway. So, all things considered, what is my final verdict on Happyland fragrances? Well, I'll be considering some factors to give you a more objective view of my thoughts. Performance-wise, Happyland fragrances deliver. On average, all the samples that I've tried, most of them has an average longevity of 6 to 8 hours on my skin. So that performance category is a tick for me. Secondly, the quality. The quality of these fragrances is almost niche. So borderlining niche, high-end designer, borderlining niche. So quality wise, you can't really, they won't set you that bad, because when you're considering quality, you consider the price, and the price proposition is excellent. I think most of them goes for 50 to, they're available in 2 sizes, by the way. So one, I think the smaller size goes for around $35 to $40, while the bigger one goes for $50 to $65. So that is pretty good pricing, because when you look at the fragrance market and when you see all those high-end designers that fetch around 100 to over 100 with new releases, compared to that, it's a steal. Next category to explore or consider is presentation. Now, I agree that the presentation is not the finest, but I quite like the sprayer. The sprayer shoots monstrous amount of juice. The distribution is phenomenal, and I actually like the minimalistic bottles, because all things considered, you need to keep this in your mind that this is a indie brand, and with this, and I think when you line all those bottles up in your collection, the Happyland fragrances will look phenomenal. But what I have qualms with is they don't come in a box. They come in pouches. Maybe my only one criticism would be upgrading to a box. Maybe get a box that matches the contrasting colors of the bottles. That would look great in a collection. That's the only thing I would add. And Happyland fragrances truly does what their name try to resonate. They truly transports you to a happy place, because the notes that E.J. Wells plays around are quite interesting ones, and you don't see tweaks like that. Well, because when people are doing clones after clones, even big brands like Perfumes Vintage, there's not much originality. When you say inspired by, this house is what you call a true inspired by. They're not outright copying another fragrance, but they're taking elements of those and inventing their own style. I think that's my verdict. Overall, it's a phenomenal house, and it should make more noise in the fragrance industry, in fragcom, whatever you want to call it. Please show much more love to this house, because this house actually absolutely deserves it. That's my verdict. Frankenstein has spoken.